is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. B is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore can love, is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game for two. Two in love can make it. Take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for me and you.
Hey, welcome to WPGR Sports Network and the Tom the Bomb Sports Talk Show. And this is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. If you don't think it's a great day, just try missing one. And we, L-O-V-E, love sports on the Tom the Bomb Show. I'm your host, Tommy Wood. My co-host, Troy Wood.
What's good, y'all?
That's my favorite son.
His only son. Let's work.
And we got another fantastic show for you today. So, hey, look, if you'd like to be part of the show and give a shout out, the number here is 301-429-9247. Again, that's 301-429-9247. No trivia question today. You got a question, though. Hey, the Oscars was last night. Raise your hand if you were shocked that Andra Day didn't win Best Actress for the United States versus Billie Holiday. I wasn't, because they've been doing it for years. Hey, look, let's start off with we're going to follow up with our news and updates. The George Floyd verdict came in guilty.
Yay.
Okay, that we needed to see and know, okay? So, listen, just a little follow-up. Look, the hits just keep coming. The hits just keep coming for ex-Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. Now that he's been convicted of murdering George Floyd, the Department of Justice is considering the possibility of charging additional charges. The DOJ is considered charging Chauvin for a 2017 incident where he allegedly beat a black 14-year-old teen on September 4th in 2017. He struck him in the head, split his head open where he needed stitches, and knelt on him for a whopping 17 minutes, and ignoring the complaints that the boy couldn't breathe. Kind of heard that before, right? Look, ABC News is reporting that when prosecutors were preparing for the case to bring the Chauvin case to justice, they received several videos of this incident with the black teen, and they said that they were shocked by what they saw. Was you shocked? I'm not shocked. They were shocked by what they saw. The evidence was successfully argued by Chauvin's defense attorney that the jurors in the Floyd case not be allowed to hear about Chauvin's history of neck and body restraints on other suspects for his past, which is kind of wild because they also argued that Chauvin's past arrests that didn't show this behavior should be made admissible, and some of that evidence was allowed in the George Floyd murder trial in Chauvin's favor. The DOJ says that the video shows a far more violent and forceful treatment of this child than Chauvin describes in his report of the incident. One of the state prosecutors wrote in a court filing at the time that Chauvin was never charged for the incident, even though witnesses were brought before a federal grand jury to provide testimony regarding the incident. The DOJ is still investigating what happened to the teen. Troy, what do you think of that? I mean, they held this evidence back. We never even got to see this during the George Floyd trial. What's your thoughts on that, Troy?
Well, I'm glad that they got the verdict right. You know, if this would have went the other way where he would have been found innocent and then we would have found information about this, it definitely would have added more fuel to the fire. But, you know, all in all, like you said, man, it doesn't surprise me, you know, to see how everything is unfolded and to see how even with, you know, God giving his description of what said to happen, you know, it doesn't fit the description at all. You know, the fact that the police department said that they were, you know, shocked to see this, you know, from a regular bystander, I'm not shocked at all.
Well, if you guys watched 60 Minutes last night, they also had the trial, the case on 60 Minutes last night, and one of the things that they talked about was the initial statement that the Minneapolis police filed as to what happened, which totally actually contradicted what happened. And the question that they asked on 60 Minutes was, if 13 individuals had not video recorded this on 13 different phones, would Chauvin even been charged for the George Floyd murder? Mm-hmm. And what's your thought? Yes or no?
No, because ultimately, Will Smith said it best. These instances and these wrongdoings have been going on. It's just now they're getting recorded, and not only are they being recorded, they're being shared to a mass media. So it's being transported, the news being transported to everybody in America within seconds of it touching down on social media. So it's not a good fit for them to not get it right, knowing that everybody else knows what's going on. But behind closed doors, that's where integrity is brought out and tested the most. And if you got somebody who, or just a group of people who are willing to push things to the side for somebody due to the fact that they don't want it to be a bad visual for their company or whatever it might be, it's wicked. But there's nothing new, man.
This has been happening to minorities. What happened to George Floyd has happened to thousands and thousands of minority. And it's just like, okay, now all of a sudden in this age, like Troy's saying, it's all of a sudden being videotaped. But kind of like one of the pictures that I like, what's being videotaped is just the very top of the iceberg.
Yep.
The biggest part of the iceberg is always under the water that you can't see. And literally, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of cases of murder that has happened that they've just kind of been brushed under the rug. And this is just another example. So it seems like now that they've actually found Chauvin guilty of the George Floyd murder, now it seems like they're going back and checking other things, and they're kind of gonna start piling things on him. But this could go on and on, because there's no way that this could have been. It's no way that this was his behavior just this one time.
Oh, heck no.
This guy has done this in the past,
and not only done it, got away with it to feel like where he could feel comfortable to do it again and again.
Exactly. Like I said, they've gotten away with it for years. Been doing it for years.
Yep.
So wow, this is what do you guys think about that? What's your take on it? When you first heard the verdict, what was your thoughts when you first heard the verdict?
Thank God. Because I was just thinking about all the negatives that would have came forth if this would have went the other way. We've already seen, when the Rodney King case, I wasn't old enough to really remember that per se, but just watching back on the clips of how the city was an uproar for somebody who literally got off the hook for doing something that they know they did wrong. LA wasn't playing that. Nowadays, especially with the generation of my age and younger, we don't tolerate disrespect, no matter if it's coming from an authority figure, somebody our age. We want to be respected and treated as we're taught to treat people. So therefore, if somebody's older than us or has authority over us, has a badge, or we expect them to really be held to the same standard. And this isn't really like, this is justice, but it's more so of being held accountable for what you've done wrong. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm glad that Chauvin was found guilty, but even if this was a black man that did this to another black man, mm-hmm. I would be happy due to the fact that he deserved what he got. Mm-hmm. He put that man through 9 minutes and 40-some seconds of misery to the point where he was calling out for his mother, who had already passed away at the time. That's embarrassing on his end. So ultimately, man, I'm just, it's a breath of fresh air. It's a sign of good things to come. I just hope that we build off of this as opposed to take 10 steps back. And then have another thing pop up and then it not get resolved the right way.
If found, he's been found guilty, the maximum sentence that Derek Chauvin can receive is 40 years for this. Years. And one of the questions that they asked on 60 Minutes, which I thought was interesting, was, should Derek Chauvin get the maximum sentence of 40 years? And the attorney that was on there was saying, well, I don't think that judges should send messages through sentences, that we just want to hold these people accountable and let each crime take its own sentence on, and not try to make messages with by sending a strong sentence. What's your take on this? I mean, did this require? Do you think this is a maximum sentence required?
Yeah.
I do. What do you think?
I do too, because it will send the message that we don't play that. We're not tolerating this nonsense. If you give him a reduced sentence or a sentence with a chance of bail, it sends the message that you can get away with it if the price is right. And if you got a support system that can literally pay $100,000 to get you out of jail, or $1 million to get you out of jail, it's really not serving anything. You just pay the toll. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to learning. If you really want to learn something, you have to go through the depths of that bad experience to learn from it. And best believe if the judicial system makes an example out of this cop, other cops around the state and the country will look at this and then think twice about doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. So, ultimately, yeah, make an example out of Cuz. I'm not saying,
Make an example.
yeah, like I'm not saying just be totally harsh with him, but he made his bed, so he has to sleep in it. Nobody told that boy to sit on his neck, put his knee on his neck, in which the force from his knee and his lower body added more force to his neck. Crushing his windpipe. He did that to himself. I
think the key word in all of this is accountability. That because this isn't happening to Caucasians who are doing the same thing and even worse, okay? But minorities are being killed for this and even less. Dante Wright, remember we talked about it last week. He got pulled over at 2:01 p.m. At 2:02 p.m. he was shot. And at 2:18 p.m. he was pronounced dead. We've just got to have accountability. And it's really the only way that this is going to end is when all police officers, irregardless to their race, that they be held accountable upon murdering minorities and brown people. They've just got to be held accountable, and if they are, this will stop and it will go away.
It will. It's a formula per se, and because this is a sports show, I want to give this little analogy before we move forward. In football, we got trained and we were disciplined to know when and when not to do things. In particular, as an offensive lineman, we're taught not to go until the ball is snapped, or as a defensive lineman, or offensive line too. At practice, we would run sprints, and the coach would literally make us go on the whistle, not when he said go. He would purposefully try to get us to jump, so that way, we would learn from, okay, you guys jump, that's 10 more push-ups. You guys jump, that's another 100-yard sprint. You guys jump, up downs. It was always some sort of penalty, some sort of disciplinary action that took place for us messing up mentally, But when that got us to game day, best believe, we know from last week at practice, we had to run so much due to the fact that we had 5 false start penalties and 1 holding penalty. So ultimately, all in all, if you want to learn something, you have to be able to be held accountable for your action. And if you want somebody or a group of people to really learn, you got to put them through a test and really see how they react to it. Nobody wants to keep running sprints. Nobody wants to keep doing up downs. Nobody wants to be sentenced to 40 years in jail. Nobody wants to be on national headlines on every major news coverage channel. So you want that to stop? Keep making examples.
Hey, we've got our guest with us today, Jackie-Joyner Kersee. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Jackie.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing good.
Great. We were just wrapping about the verdict that came in for the George Floyd. Did you want to comment on that? I know we're going to talk sports, but did you have any thoughts on that that you wanted to share with us, Jackie?
Yeah, I could.
So everybody's got an opinion, right?
Right, but I don't keep my opinion to myself.
Oh, boy, she's very talented and smart. Hey, look, today we are continuing our segment, East St. Louis, Illinois, the City of Champions, with East St. Louis native and Olympic champion Jackie-Joyner Kersee.
Yeah.
Having been proclaimed the greatest female athlete of the 20th century by Sports Illustrated, Jackie-Joyner Kersee athletic accomplishments are literally second to none. By the conclusion of her illustrious career in the heptathlon and long jump events, she amassed 6 Olympic medals, 3 golds, 1 silver, and 2 bronze, and 4 world champion titles over 4 consecutive Olympic Games. Jackie was the first woman to earn more than 7,000 points in the heptathlon, and over 20 years later still holds the world record with 291 points. She continues to hold the Olympic and national records in the long jump, and her 1994 performance in the long jump remains the second longest in history. In addition to the heptathlon and long jump, Jackie was a world-class 100-meter and 200-meter runner, and after a decorated All-American career in basketball at UCLA, she eventually played professional basketball for a short time. Jackie's accomplishments have been well documented and remain some of the best ever across all sports. Less well known are her tireless efforts and remarkable accomplishments off the field as a philanthropist and an advocate for children's education, health issues, in particular asthma, for which she has suffered throughout her life, racial equality, social reform, and women's rights. She's born and raised in East Boogie. I can say that. She's one of 4 children to Mary and Alfred Joyner, with an older brother, Al Joyner, who also is an Olympic gold medal champion in the triple jump and was married to the fabulous Florence Griffin Joyner. Jackie's a sought-after, active professional speaker and is considered one of the most inspiring motivational speakers in all of sports. Let's give it up for the GOAT and a Tom the Bomb welcome for Jackie-Joyner Kersee.
Thank you.
How you like that introduction, Jackie?
That's pretty incredible. You know, sometimes you're like, okay.
Well, you know, you're pretty incredible.
No, thank you, though.
Hey, look, Jackie.
A lot of hard work.
Yeah, a lot of hard work. Hey, look, Jackie, explain and finish this statement for me. A woman's place is everywhere. Explain that for us.
Yeah, so I think I helped co-write that was, well, not co-write, co-author it. I think it was in the 90s. Might be in the 80s, who knows. But anyway, the whole topic is that a woman's place is everywhere. You know, we belong in every inch of this nation as well as this world, not just being there, but with our intellect, you know, with our empathy, our compassion, our understanding, our connectivity, you know, and also in decision making. That, you know, so when you are looking, you know, one place is everywhere. That's what it is. You know. So being in athletics is being a multi-eventer, is that I found my skills to be invaluable in every aspect of the sport. Where some would try to just keep you in a box, but no. Explore things that I didn't even know I could do. Or even had the ability to do. But I wasn't limited because of what someone else said I could or could not do. And it's the same thing. Don't limit women to what we think we can do. What society said we can do. Allow us to use our skills and show in ways that people didn't even know you had those skills.
Amen. Hey, Jackie, anytime you see successful people, you're looking at who influenced them, positively or negatively. Who influenced you?
You know, I take, for me, growing up and not seeing a lot of women doing sports, you know, well, when I say not seeing them, on the television, we used to call it,
right.
You know, so on that screen, so being able to read about a Basil Harris or Wilma Rudolph, a Willie White, you know, a Flo Hine, you know, or
Babe Deacon Harris,
Evelyn Ashford, you know, and just knowing that Wilma Rudolph's story, it was just, it just connected on many levels because being diagnosed with polio, not being able to walk, let alone to grow into a phenomenal woman that went on to exceed where others had put limits on what her possibilities could be of going to Tennessee State, the Tiger Bears, they were winning 3 gold medals in the 1960 Olympics, but more importantly, with with the grace that she showed on the field, she showed off the field. But she couldn't eat at the counter in her hometown because of the color of her skin, that she didn't have any bitterness. She continued, or bitterness that we could see. Everything was about empowering, motivating. And then in '84, she is one of the commentators for the Summer Olympic Games. And then we struck up a bond from me reading about her books, seeing her story. But now, I'm all of a sudden being able to sit in her hotel room and sit across from her.
Oh, that's awesome.
And, yes, so to me, that is just, she is someone that I will always admire. And then also being able to see the strength of my mother, never giving up and always fighting, refusing to quit that I can't do attitude. When we as young people don't understand the struggles of what our parents are going through because we're just young and we enjoy life and we don't, understand other responsibilities. And so, but then also being surrounded by great women who I trained with, Valerie Briscoe Hooks, Jeanette Bowden, Alice Brown, Flo-Yo, Gail Devers, sometimes when you, with your peers, that you don't realize that they give you inspiration too, because you see how hard each and every one of us work every day in trying to become the best. And that's motivating within itself. But then also, how do we not let the greatness of what others say they see in us and find ways to give back?
Okay. Hey, Jackie, this is a two-part question I have for you, so bear with me. Anytime you look at a bio of an East St. Louis and that's been successful, it kind of ticks me off a little bit because it always seems to start off from a small poverty-stricken city across the river from St. Louis. They never seem to see the richness of our community and, more importantly, the love that we have for one another. Can you explain how this small, so-called poverty-stricken city continuously turns out unbelievable world-class talent, and not just in sports, NFL, NBA, track and field, Major League Baseball, but music and politics and the arts and dance and activism and business. Can you tackle that for me?
Yes.
I know that's kind of a lot.
In all honesty, I think that people see and write what they want to write. And because there's that narrative can easily be, changed from the standpoint of the wealth of knowledge that's within that community, the love that people have for one another, and then just the connection in identifying that one is from that community and being able to utter the words of East St. Louis, Illinois, versus the east side of St. Louis. Some people don't even know the Mississippi River separated. And that the hard work that goes into your upbringing, my upbringing, because we were always taught to never give up.
Correct.
When the odds are against us, we're trying to figure out what it is we need to do. We're not looking for an excuse not to get it done. When I came through in high school, we wanted Lincoln to be the best in everything. Not just from sports, it's from everything, from the debate team to the drill team, our majorettes, I mean, as scholars, our students, the honor society, the history, you name it, is that there was always a level of excellence that we strive for. And I think that sometimes the story, it is an eye catcher to say, wow, this poverty-stricken area, but look what has come from here. And for me, I use it as motivation because the young people I work with, there's no excuse, okay? No, we don't have this, we don't have that, we didn't have a track.
No excuses.
They run on the track, man, don't
They don't know how good they got it, do they? They don't know how good they got it, do they?
Right. I'm like, man, I ran in the same track shoes for 3 years. Now I know about, you can shoot, I need a new pair every week.
Hey Jackie, your athletic accomplishments they're unbelievable. They're literally goat-like. But that's kind of, if I can say, that's kind of like the materialistic side of Jackie-Joyner Kersee. It's clear that there are many things that are important to you. Tell me how important the business side or women's rights and racial equality and social reform. I know you're an advocate for education, health and nutrition, and youth programs, and your philanthropy. T- Tell us how important that side of it is for you.
You know what? I would say that I always talk about how, the gold medals, world records, the different things you win that's materialistic, that can be taken away at any given time, but the heart and soul of me is what I stand for. And all those things are embedded innately within me of understanding that as a young girl growing up, that people provided an opportunity for me, or when my parents can afford to send me to meets or track meets, and but then also being able to go to a community center and work with the librarian. My mother encouraged me to read the local paper. At that time we had the Crusader and the Monitor, and to be aware of what was happening within the community, and not to be naive, but always not take anything from strangers, and to understand that we talk about, are we enough? Yes, you are enough. I don't need anyone to justify that for me, because I feel good in my own skin. But what can I do to empower? And not so much empower, because when I was coming up, that wasn't a word we used. We didn't use empower. I didn't hear that a lot. But how can I inspire others to believe that just because what you don't have is not what you don't have is what you don't see, but what you can have is what you can work towards, and to make it a reality, maybe not for you, but for someone else. So as we fight these struggles, is understanding the people that came before us, that the struggles are still the same. Hunger still exists. Homeless is still around. The social injustice is still there. So what can we do, or what can I do? So in wanting to come back to East St. Louis and build a community center, is that, that wasn't popular, and I didn't do it because it was popular or wasn't. It was that I knew there was a need, because when I lost my mom as a freshman in college and went back to the center where I grew up, and I learned so much and learned to work with people, and it's padlocks on the door. First thing I started thinking, where do the young people go?
Right.
So then it's like, wow, okay, right now they don't have nowhere to go but on the street. So what can I do while I'm out at school in California with the hopes of coming back? And for me, it's very important that I came back in the community, because it's one thing to talk about it, talk about wanting to make change. It's another to be in the environment where change can't happen with you there. So I didn't want them to just read about me in the newspaper or see me on television when I was on television, but for young people, I want the same streets that you walk. Now, I haven't walked in your shoes, but I do know that no matter where you go, that there's always going to be someone with authority, and how important respect is. But respecting yourself, how do you, So, for me, that's full circle of understanding how the importance of, you can be the greatest in this, you can be the greatest for that, but sometimes we have to give of ourselves in order to make change, or to see change coming about. That it's not all about you, So, for me, God is at the center of everything that I do.
Amen.
And that, and sometimes you misstep, but and it might not be a misstep, but you might not understand why things happen or why this is going on. But education is so very important, and get that education, love what you do athletically, but also be aware of what's happening not only in the nation, but just in your own backyard. And those experiences, you you will never understand like what we have been going through as a nation, dealing with the pandemic, dealing with the George Floyd situation. It's just, we can't allow these things to perpetuate. Is that my time when I was coming up, didn't have the opportunity to be able to use social media when there was an injustice being done.
Yeah.
Or when gamesmanship is going around, You can't go on there and be able to speak your piece. That other writer, that journalist, they become the narrative. They tell your story, and then most people only read the headline. They don't read the body of the information.
Mm-hmm.
So now, young people and a generation have speak up, use their voice, bring attention. To be able to have that young person to take that video, and then all of a sudden it culminates into a guilty verdict. But you have to stay on it. That's just one guilty verdict. That it's a lot more we have to continue to do.
Well, Jackie, where you grew up in East St. Louis, you were probably at the Mary Brown Center, correct? For me, it was the boys' club because you went to Hughes Quinn, I went to Rock. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I got my start to OC Hughes. Let me come into the boys' club.
Powerful man.
Boys' club at that time.
Yeah, that guy shaped my life tremendously, O.C. Hughes. Hey, so what's the vision for the Jackie-Joyner Kersee Center in East St. Louis, how it's functioning now and for the future?
So our goal has always been, we use sports as a hook to get them in the door. Mm-hmm. And what we're doing, even through COVID, that we would also turn our counselors into somewhat like teachers in a way. They help with remote learning. So on a normal basis, we still doing this now, but we do pick up from school because our students have gone back into school. And they come to the JJK Center, and when they come into the JJK Center, they go right into what we call some type of activity to break it up, because we do answer schoolwork, but when you've been in school all day, then I want to come to the JJK and you're going to go back into school. So they go into the gym, break it up, then they eat, then they go and do what we call our enrichment. We have the Jackie-Joyner Kersee Winning in Life curriculum. It's based off of 14 principles that around confidence, self-care, risk-taking, wellness, passion, determination, grit. That is threaded throughout everything that we do. So right now we sit on 37 acres. We have a 60,000 square foot building. 40,000 of that was completed in 2000. In 2015, we partnered with FIUE Head Start. So they have about 150 little, I call them tiny tots, that they feed daily. And so our long-term plan is that this fall we're going to start a JJK Academy, working with working with kindergarten and first grade, starting off with 2 classes, and eventually to get it up to 3rd grade. And we're also working with U of I Extension and the Danforth Foundation on building a JJK Innovation Center around food and nutrition. The Park District, we have a partnership with them, so we're utilizing that greenhouse where our students are going over and planting, working with either they do, right now, the cabbage should be coming out, so they grow cabbage, but through our STEM program, they're teaching them where food comes from. Then we have our what we call our math and our science, we have a reading specialist, because we want to make sure that each kid can read at grade level. Right. And the bigger talent is just finding, the balance. And ultimately, the ultimate goal, it's down the road, we want to build an indoor field house. We got awesome. Track, we don't have a track on the grounds. We have football, soccer, baseball, softball, you name it. Because, everybody said, well, Jackie, why didn't you build a track? I said, because you know what? See, I came up, we can run anywhere.
Exactly. We ran around the block. We did. That was where we would run around the block.
Right. I told them, I said, we got 37 or acres here. You can make lanes and you could,
Exactly.
But now, I want to try to build a indoor field house because our school, during the winter months, just running on those tiles in the hallways eventually takes a toll on your body.
Right. Okay. Hey, Jackie, we know you've authored a couple of books, A Kind of Grace. How did you come up with that title? Can you share that with us?
Yes. So, A Kind of Grace came about my life and how I summed it up. Is that everything that I try to do, try to do it with grace, even through winning, losing. Everything is like a kind of grace, even when I don't do too well. Okay, kind of grace, okay?
Right, grace.
But,
Unmerited favor.
And so, and mainly, it was basically about how determined I was on the athletic field, and a lot of times people were confused. Back then, it's like, oh, either she's so muscular or she's so this, and I'm like, but everything I do is with a kind of grace. And that's how it is, because it was more about women being strong. And for me, it's that the people stand where they're judging you, and I'm like, when I'm on the athletic field, I'm about there trying to get the job done.
Right.
I don't care if one strand of hair is out of place, but I'm being judged because, oh, my hair doesn't look a certain way, and then when I don't do well, so that's how it came about. And matter of fact, that's how the Women in Life curriculum is based off of my book, A Kind of Grace. And these 14 different principles come out of that book on how to win in life, and that's winning on and off the field.
Jackie, that's so awesome. Hey, look, like me, I know you're a big St. Louis Cardinal baseball fan. We lost some childhood heroes this past year, Lou Brock and Bob Gibson. As a frustrated Cardinal fan, I didn't understand why the younger Cardinal pitchers didn't take advantage of the wealth of knowledge that a Bob Gibson had to offer them. With that being said, the 2021 Olympics are happening this year. Do you have younger Olympic athletes reaching out to you for advice?
You know what? My husband still is coaching, and we have a good group of people, and I've always, to answer your question, yes, they do reach out. So it's challenging, for them. You look at Allison Felix is an athlete of ours, and Sidney McLaughlin, so I talk to them on a regular and just give my advice or whatever they might want to ask. Because my husband is always one that says, I can coach you guys, but Jackie, you can share something with them that I can't, because I've never competed on that level, and I think even with the younger generation, you get a lot of calls from a lot of people, and I'm very accessible and open, so, but what I find out, though, is that for whatever reason, because I still work with Coach Fanoa, he's still coaching at the high school.
Ain't that something?
Right, but, it's great having, cell phones and all these devices. But these kids, they can just go on YouTube, and that's how they're going to get over and killing me. I'm like, what? So, it's like, hey, you have, today they have a Lou Brock, a Bob Gibson, at your disposal,
Right.
You're going to tap into that. That's what, like, with Wilma Rudolph, I was tapping in, I was asking all kind of questions. Okay, how do you deal with, I didn't even know that beyond the athletic field. It's one thing to dream about going to the Olympics, right?
Right.
I didn't dream about trying to win or any of that. It's like, oh, I just want to go so I can be on television. But then I had no idea that, oh, you do all these amazing things. Now people want to invite you to these dinners. Then now you got to wear these ball gowns. And you got, you got so many stuff. You're like, well, I don't want to go to that. So you need to go. Okay, you're going to meet them. So trying to tell the young people, like now, I mean, people are paying for me to speak, talk about my story. Like, my story is boring. Why
Oh, you got a story to tell, my sister. You have a story to tell.
But there's a lot that goes into it that they only see, the X's and the O's, and how, when I share with them about how good relationships are, you just never know, and what it is that you want to do with the rest of your life. Make these relationships. You in a room with all kind of dignitaries. Go introduce yourself. Take a pause. Send a note. And some of them take the advice, and then some of them be looking at you like you're crazy.
So Jackie, what words of wisdoms do you have in departing for the generation of athletes coming up? What pearl of wisdom do you have from them? Now, that's a personal joke. My son is here with me. I won't get into that. But what pearl of wisdom do you have for generations of athletes coming up that you could share with us in closing?
You know what? I would just say, I always say to myself is that, one, believe in yourself, because you can turn a doubter into a believer.
Amen.
As long as you believe.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Jackie, we so thank you for your time. We know you have such a busy schedule. You are a permanent friend of the Tom the Bomb Show, and you're welcome here anytime you want to come on and just get some information out. You can reach through Pat. That's my brother, right?
Yeah.
He said, I say, look, Jackie. I told him, I say, man, I'm trying to get in touch with Jackie, but she hard to get a hold of. He said, we friends. I'm friends with her. I say, well, we brothers. If you friends with her, I'm friends with her. And he goes, I guess you're right. But look, when he told me that he would handle it, I took it to the bank.
Oh yeah.
I took it to the bank.
That's like,
Yeah.
It's like, okay, Patrick, call. Okay, Patrick, what we got?
Jackie, you know I tease him and tell him he's the unofficial mayor of East St. Louis. Well, Jackie, thank you for coming on with us. God bless you. Everything that you put your hands to will continue to prosper, and please come back and visit us again.
I will. All right, and thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Jackie.
All right.
Bye-bye. All righty, that was the legendary Jackie-Joyner Kersee, East St. Louis native. We are so proud of her. The work that she's done just speaks for herself. But what she's done off the track and fields and the athletic field is even more so important. And like I said, we just thank you, Jackie. Again, thank you for coming on and blessing the Tom the Bomb Show with your presence. So now we're going to head right into the NFL draft with news and updates. And this is right up Troy's alley. So Troy, take us away.
Oh, yeah. The time has come, ladies and gentlemen. The 2021 NFL draft is 3 days away. So what we're going to do here on the Tom the Bomb Show, we are going to cover the first 20 picks. Due to time constraint, I can't get to all 32, so just bear with me. With the first pick in the 2021 NFL draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Trevor Lawrence. This is a no-brainer. Already has their playbook. Projected number 1 overall pick since last year, and he's a winner. So, I'm not even going to get too deep into that. Number 2, with the second overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Zach Wilson. This is also kind of a no-brainer. We've been talking about them being 1-2 for the past couple months. Playmaker, especially out of play action. He does a great job of picking his head up and reading the field within a 2-second window. Being able to read off safeties, to look off guys. And also, he's an improviser. He's swaggy. He's the type of quarterback to where he can do all the unorthodox things that you don't want quarterbacks to do and still make a great play out of it. So his ability to roll out to the right and then throw the ball 60, 70 yards down the field on a dime is second to none. Definitely type like a Joe Namath type guy coming to New York. He's definitely going to have the spotlight coming in. It's just a matter of they've already went down this route with quarterbacks in the first round before. How is it going to pan out moving forward?
Now, I'm only interested in the number 3 pick. You do know that, right? I can care about the rest of the draft. I just want to know what's going to happen at the number 3 pick.
Well, with the number 3 pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Mac Jones, quarterback out of Alabama.
Oh, no.
6'3", 217. 203.1 pass efficiency rating, which is the highest in FBS history. 77% completion rating, number one this past year, and I think overall in FBS history as well, but I'm not entirely sure. The numbers speak for itself, man. He's reliable. 41 touchdowns to 4 interceptions last year. You know, that's a guy that makes plays and limits mistakes. Accurate quarterback who hits receivers in stride consistently. You know, it's not a shock that Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith are both projected top 10 picks in which he had to his disposal. He does a good job, like I said, of hitting the guy where he needs to be. Even hitting his running backs like Najee Harris out the backfield, he would hit the swing route in stride as to where he didn't have to turn around to make the catch then get upfield. No, he hit him, and he would constantly hit him in a position where he can catch the ball, and as soon as he catches the ball and touches the ball, he can make a play with his legs. So
they can't draft that guy, man.
Well, I will
draft that guy. If they draft that guy at number 3, it's going to take our organization down.
Well. I'm thinking about Daniel Jones here, and I'm thinking about how I felt when Daniel Jones got drafted high. I was the biggest, you know, the Giants are just stupid. That was my mindset. But then to see him make plays, and then to see him get tripped up by that ghost after he made that incredible, 60-yard run where he should have scored. You know, he was flying on that play. He's a much better athlete than I gave him credit for, and he's much better than I gave him credit for. And I gave him a lot of trouble coming from Duke, considering that the ACC in football isn't the same as what it used to be. I mean, isn't the same compared to basketball. But all in all, it's a great fit for Shanahan, although in my opinion, and in your opinion, Justin Fields is a better quarterback.
Not just Justin Fields, Trey Lance, either one of them. If my 49ers take Mac Jones over Justin Fields and Trey Lance, it's going to be, well, it's not the biggest mistake. The biggest mistake was not drafting Tom Brady. And then after blowing Tom Brady, they could have taken Aaron Green. Can you imagine what my Niners would have been if they Aaron Rodgers? Can you imagine what my Niners would have been if we'd have went from Joe Montana to Steve Young to Tom Brady? Okay, we messed up on Brady, but what about Aaron Rodgers? We can't blow this again at quarterback. If they take Mac Jones over Justin Fields or Trey Lance, well, that's going to be a huge mistake, I think.
I get where you're coming from. I will say this, though. When you got a team that's not really identified from their quarterback position, you just need a guy that can fit the role perfectly like a glove.
And manage?
And manage.
You mean like the quarterback they got now?
No, he's better. Well, yeah, I get the Jimmy G comparison, but I will say this. 77% completion percentage is nothing to sneeze at. Somebody that can literally, if you round up to the nearest 10th, that's almost 80%. Out of 10 passes, he's completing 8 of them on a consistent basis. And on top of that, like I said, he's hitting guys in stride. You get the ball in, what's that wide receiver? Brandon Ayuk's hand in stride on a crossing route, he can take that to the crib for 85 yards, just like he did with Jalen Waddle in Alabama. So, all in all, like I said, I think Justin Fields is a better quarterback. But for this scheme, I understand why Kyle Shanahan is thinking this way. All right, so the fourth pick. With the fourth pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Patrick Surtain Jr. Now, many of you know Patrick Surtain Sr. as a shutdown, lockdown corner out of Miami when he played back in his day. Definitely transferred to his son. First of all, he's 6'2". I love big corners that can be agile and turn their hips, boy. It's nothing like seeing a shutdown, lockdown corner that has size to go along with his playing ability.
Let me ask you this. Do you think he's the best DB in the draft?
Yes.
I don't.
Yes, I do. And the reason why I say so is it might not be from a physical standpoint, but football, just like golf, like my Uncle Nate taught me a long time ago, is mainly mental. Yeah, physical is always important. But when you get to that level, everybody is physical. I mean, when I say physical, everybody's in shape. Everybody can run. Everybody can do all the little things. What separates guys at the top level is what's up here.
Well, why do you like him over Caleb?
Because due to the fact that Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech, I like Patrick Surtain more due to the fact, the same reason why I love Antoine Winfield Jr. coming out of college. They've been around this level of football their entire life. Okay. I mean, their entire life. I'm talking about film study with Pops as a 7-year-old. What 7-year-old at my local YMCA or youth football league is going to be able to hold me knowing that I got my father as my mentor? You know, that upbringing is huge. Being a DB is all based off instinct. You know, if you have the right instincts to make a play in any situation, you can be a great DB in this league for a long time to come. Also, this is a huge area of concern for Atlanta. I can't tell you how many times Atlanta has blown a big lead going into the fourth quarter.
Yep.
And
Yep.
with the addition of a guy that can make plays with his instincts, not with just his physical ability, that's huge for a team that needs to be able to finish off games. So you get your lockdown corner for he's an intelligent football player who matches up well against any type of wide receiver, whether it be in the slot or outside. And you go there, if they don't trade Julio Jones, you practice against Julio Jones every day. You practice against Calvin Ridley every day. You practice against all those guys that they have. Russell Gage. You practice against all those guys. So it mentally prepares you for when you have to play Tampa Bay twice a year, and you gotta go up against Antonio Brown and Mike Evans and I can't think of the other guy's name, but regardless, it's talent everywhere. Gets you your lockdown corner at 4. With the number 5th pick, and this is my favorite pick.
I'm sorry for calling you up. So you think that the Falcons are going to pass on Kyle Pitts?
Yes.
And take a DB instead?
It would be foolish, in my opinion, for them to take Kyle Pitts if they don't get rid of Julio. If they get rid of Julio, it's not foolish. If they don't and they keep him, it's foolish. It's too many mouths to feed in Atlanta. Calvin Ridley has already been the Robin to Julio Jones' Batman. You got to be able to get Kyle Pitts the ball 10 to 12 times a game. And you can't do that when you got all these other guys that you have to worry about feeding. Okay. So that's the reason why I wouldn't take him at 4. Okay. Now, this next pick is my favorite. Number 5th pick. The Cincinnati Bengals select Jamar Chase, wide receiver out of LSU. Boy, oh boy, this is a reunion. You put Jamar Chase back with Joe Burrow, in which they broke records when they played in 2019, it's over with. AJ Green's replacement. You know, they just lost AJ Green to Arizona. That's huge. They need a guy that can come in and be active plus for their team from day one. He sat out the 2020 season, but I don't look at that as a bad thing. As a wide receiver, he stays in shape. He's gonna, he might not be in the best shape right now, but as a wide receiver, you're required to constantly be running and constantly be worried about what you eat and what you put in your body, so that way you can stay at the most effective level possible for your athletic ability. So him coming in here, he already has chemistry with Joe Burrow. You know, that's second to none. You bring him into the NFL rank, you put him alongside that wide receiver that they drafted from Clemson last year. This is going to be not a quick fix for Cincinnati, but a couple years down the line, it's going to be a force to reckon with, especially within that tough division. With the number 6 pick of the 2021 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Kyle Pitts, tight end out of Florida. This is where he goes. Okay. Freak athlete at the tight end position, was a 4.4 440. 6'6", 240, got size. You know, that's kind of close to what Megatron was in his size and speed combination. Versatile option on the offensive end of the ball. He can play the slot. He can play out wide. He can play tight end. And he's a pretty good blocking tight end as well. People only look at his passing ability. Dude can block. He can play. He's a football player. So you can put him. Impressive. He's impressive. Yeah. So you can literally put him anywhere on the field that you need him as an offensive coordinator. Good kid, all in all. Love this pick. And he's a prototypical type tight end for today's day and age. You know, the days of having a tight end that runs a 4.7, 4.8, 40, but is mainly a blocker is over with. Same thing with basketball, having a center that's only known to be in the post defensively and offensively. Those days are over. You need a guy like a Travis Kersee. You need a guy like a George Kittle. You need a guy like a Hawkinson, T.J. Hawkinson out of Detroit. You need a guy like Darren Waller from the Raiders. You need a guy that can literally stretch the defense out and make it a matchup nightmare for a linebacker to have to guard him. So that's why I got Kyle Pitts going. With the 7th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Jalen Waddle. Speed kills, man. This is by far the most electric receiver in this draft, without question. He can turn a drag route into an 80-yard touchdown.
So can Devontae.
Yeah, he can. He can, but knock on Devontae is he's only 167 pounds. How's that going to transfer over at that? I get it, but that's just me being nitpicky.
Yeah, everybody likes a big, strong receiver
that can run.
Everybody that's what everybody likes. But Man, you got to draft football players.
Yeah, I get that.
And people are sleeping on this. This kid just won the Heisman Trophy.
I get that.
They don't give that to just anybody.
I get that.
Okay?
I get
and
that.
they're trying to knock this kid because he's 165 pounds. This kid's a football player.
I get that.
He says, turn the film on. That's what he says.
And so does Jalen Waddle. And that's why I have him above him, because they have the same mindset in which how they approach the game. But Jalen Waddle's a bigger, more physical presence.
Where are the receivers that you got them pick a draft? Is that the way you're ranking them as far as 1, 2, 3? As far as the top receivers in the draft?
No.
So
based off, dude won the Heisman, so Devontae Smith has to be the best wide receiver in this draft.
I disagree. How do you have him?
No, that's how I'm thinking.
Okay,
but like I said, with the Bengals having the 5th pick and them being able to say we can reunite one of the most lethal college quarterback wide receiver duos ever in the NFL, that's what I'm doing. I'm not going after anybody from Alabama. I'm going after LSU kid. Because this, like I said, if you already got chemistry, that's one battle that you already overcame before you even got the training camp, before you even got the rookie camp. So, when you already got that covered, everything else is simple. So I feel like that's a great fit wise. But like I said, don't get it twisted. Jalen Waddle is a stud. He'll be a great playmaker for Jared Goff, and they just lost Kenny Golladay. So they need a bigger guy who can play multiple positions at the wide out, but then still be that big play type wide receiver that I was just explaining. Okay. And he's an exceptional route runner as well. Okay, this is the first trade that we have going up into this draft. The Panthers will trade with the Los Angeles Chargers at the 8th pick. And with the 8th pick, the Chargers select Penny Sewell, offensive tackle out of I want to say Oregon. Yeah, out of Oregon. Former left tackle for Justin Herbert at Oregon. We talked about chemistry. I want my same left tackle that was been protecting me in college, protecting me at the next level.
I like that.
I love
that. I know that's what Justin Herbert wants.
Yeah, because it's like literally, when it comes to communication, the left tackle has to be in constant non-verbal communication with his quarterback at all times. He always has to know what's going on. He always has to know his responsibility to a T. When you got somebody that you've already been playing with for years, it helps build that chemistry up to where you don't have to start from square one with two randoms coming in together. Instinctive pass blocker. Great athlete as a left tackle who can make key blocks down the field. Great screen blocker. This is going to open up the playbook for guys like, what's the running back? Austin Eckler and Mike Williams and, what's that guy's name? The wide receiver, 13.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name, but regardless, it's going to open up so many more small dink and dunk plays, in which can then open up big down the field plays due to the fact that, kind of like when Trent Williams came out of college, he can go down to the second level and pancake a corner that's on the run, pancake a strong safety that's on the run, get in the way of a linebacker that's this close to making a key tackle that could have saved the touchdown. That's what you're going to get out of a guy in Penny Sewell. And number 9. The Denver Broncos select Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State. One thing that I love about the Broncos, okay. Justin Fields.
All right.
One thing I love about this pick and what I love about Justin Fields, I was watching NFL Network this morning, and Ronnie Lott, Hall of Fame safety for the 49ers, said that he's very similar to Joe Montana in that he's comfortable in uncomfortable situations. He's going to make the best play even with pressure coming up in his grill. And he's tough. I've seen this guy just like I've seen...
Why do you think I want him in San Francisco?
No, I get that. I've seen this guy just like Deshaun Watson, what he had to go through against those killers in Alabama when he was at Clemson, take punishment and still deliver. He runs a 4.4. In today's day and age, that's huge. He had a 70% completion percentage this year. 7 out of 10 passes he's completing. That's more than exceptional at this level. And based off his 2019 stats, 41 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, plus 10 rushing touchdowns. That's great productive numbers. I feel like with him, though, a lot of people are scared due to the Dwayne Haskins effect. Knowing that coming from Ohio State, how is this man going to be able to transfer to the NFL game?
Your Buckeyes messing it up for everybody.
Okay, with the 10th pick, I'm going to kind of get through this quicker. The 10th pick, the Cowboys select Rashawn Slater, guard out of Northwestern. If y'all make this pick, y'all will be right back at the top of the NFC East alongside Washington.
You hear that, Daddy Rich?
Alongside
You hear that,
Washington.
Daddy Rich?
And the reason why he's a versatile lineman that you can plug in at tackle and guard. Meaning, if somebody gets hurt, like Zach Martin, or Tyron Smith, or the second string left tackle, if any of those guys get hurt, you can literally no, because he's already going to be a starter when he gets there, but you can put him in at a piece in which you don't think that your backup can live up to that level of productivity. So this guy's versatile. In 329 pass blocking snaps last year, he gave up 0 sacks and 5 pressures. That's huge. You protect your star investment in Dak Prescott. I know we're cut off on time. I really want to get to the Washington pick, though.
You want to go ahead and do that?
And that'll be it.
Okay, let's
so
get Washington
going
pick.
all the way to pick 19.
Bear with us,
My
folks.
Washington football team selects Elijah Vera Tucker, offensive tackle or offensive guard out of USC. Just like I just said with Dallas, it's the same thing with Washington. He's a communications major at USC, which means that he already knows the importance of verbal and nonverbal communications in anything that he does. You need your offensive line to be on the same page at the same time at all times. You need him to be able to be versatile and be able to take anything that comes at him. This guy is a great second-level blocker. Like I said, he can get to the linebackers and safeties and make a key block that can spring a big play. Can play all across the offensive line, opens up the playbook with his ability to pull and trap, which then opens up, like I said, trap plays and sweep plays, all types of different running opportunities. And he will quickly develop, considering that he has to go up against that killer defensive line every single day at practice. If you practice against Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Matthew Ioannidis, Ryan Kerrigan, and Chase Young, there ain't nobody in the NFL you can't block. Nobody, because them guys are only going to get faster and stronger and more IQ savvy. If you go up against that every day, he's going to be not just a great offensive lineman, a Pro Bowl offensive lineman, in which we need alongside a Brandon Sheriff. Right. We need another Trent Williams badly. And you saw how Trent Williams affected San Francisco in being considered the best left tackle in football last year.
Correct.
Considering that he missed the past 2 years due to the consumption of his injury on his head. So all in all, if you guys make this pick, you'll be good to go, and we'll be a force to reckon with going up against Dallas in that division.
Hey, the NFL draft is going to be this Thursday, and like I said, next week we're going to follow up with a more in-depth NFL draft. You guys see how Troy is salivating for this NFL draft.
This is what I do, man. This is what I do.
This is Mel Kiper Jr. Wood over here.
That's what I do.
He's really, really excited about this. So next week we are going to finish up. Plus, we'll also be able to check out some of his predictions and see who actually picks who, because there's always late activity, and these guys don't really know what they're doing anyway. I'm just hoping San Francisco doesn't mess this draft up. Don't be Chicago, and don't be Dallas. So we are
Why you say Chicago twice?
Because they drafted my favorite NFL player, Mitchell Trubisky, and they passed on Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. So don't be Chicago, San Francisco. Don't do it, Benny. It's suicide.
Uncle Gus gonna get you, bro.
Don't do it, Benny. It's suicide. He can take one of them guns and shoot himself.
With that skinny burrow, man. That's funny. Oh boy, I can't wait to go home.
We are gonna finish up with the draft.
Wait to go home.
Again, we want to thank Jackie-Joyner Kersee for joining us on today's show. Listen, we're gonna follow. If we can go ahead and start with the, we're gonna do our happy birthday shout out to my lovely Aunt Evelyn Young. Aunt Evelyn is going to be celebrating her 99th birthday. Happy birthday, Aunt Evelyn. We're so excited and happy for you. I love having fun with her. You know, she's turning 99, and she kind of starts to repeat herself a little bit, so she asks us the same question a lot. So everybody loves Troy. So, you know, she asked me, how's Troy? She asked me, how's Troy, like 15 times. So after the 15th time, I told her, well, you know, Troy's in trouble. Troy robbed a 7-Eleven, and he's in jail, and we got to get lawyers together. And she stopped and looked at me and said, what? Troy in jail? I said, I just thought I'd change up the story because it's like only the 15th time that you asked me. And she said, when you can, at this time she was 95. She said, when you get to be 95, you better hope that all you can do is remember a few things.
So that's right.
So happy birthday, Aunt Evelyn. We love you.
Yes,
Hey, listen, tomorrow I'll be teaching, again, finishing up Boldly Receiving and Reigning with Victory Christian Church International Wellness Ministry. God's Promises. The number is 515-606-5422. The access code is 455683, and that's tomorrow, Tuesday, at 6 p.m. Central and 7 p.m. Eastern. Hey, look, for all your racing needs, check out 2 Wide Tuesday with Darrell Kinsley Jr. on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on WBGR Sports.
Yes, sir.
For the latest interviews, news, and boxing and combat sports, check out hashtag PKG Show, Punches, Kicks, and Giggles with John Russell and our man, comedian Coy, on Saturdays on WBGR. Hey, you can also catch the Tom the Bomb Show on Roku TV on Saturdays at 1 p.m. as well.
Yes, sir.
Man, time flies when you're having fun. We're out of time here, but we sure do thank you for spending your time with us. May the gates of heavens open and pour an abundance of blessings down on you where there won't be room enough to contain it. Remember, if you want it, you got to confess it with your mouth and believe it in your heart that Jesus died on the cross and that he rose on the third day, not a Thursday, right, Troy?
Thursday.
On the third day, just for you. Remember, darkness cannot cancel out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. God bless you. We'll see you same bat time on this same bat station.
Peace.
What you need the most